start this off, everybody. Thanks everybody for joining us here this evening. I just see on the call here. My name is Jack Cooney, and myself and my good colleague Emma Byrne from Monaghan we're going to facilitate this conversation with our FRC members who are going to present on the new FRC rules. We'll work our way through the next. It'll probably take between 45 to 60 minutes, depending on how the Q&As go. There's almost 1,500 coaches signed up for this evening, and as we look at the numbers here now, we're just approaching 1,000 coaches online. So there's more and more probably just going to come on over the next few minutes, but we'll get started anyway. So we'll keep the introduction at the start fairly brief, because we want to get into the meat and bones of it. Our intention and our purpose for this webinar this evening is to really inform you and make sure that when you get off the call later on tonight, that you're very clear on what the rules are. We didn't want to get into any great detail or depth on how to coach the rules, as in from a tactical perspective. That's going to come later and early in the new year, and we'll explain that later on as well. But the real purpose of this evening is that you're very clear on what the rules are and how they're implemented. And we've put together a really nice collage of presentation slides as per the FRC report. And then that's also combined with a lot of practical video edits and video examples from the Interpro games that were played in Croke Park a number of weeks ago, and also a number of sandbox games. And I think they'll bring real good clarity on the rules explained by the lads as they present. So without further ado, and first up to present the Dissent rules, and you can see on that slide there that Emma has up, we have our 7 rule enhancements, as you can see there in the center circle. But we've included important areas around dissent, which we'll start with James. And then we're going to finish with game administration. Small little things just to bring clarity around the scoring system, the vanishing foam, and other bits and pieces that I think will be important. So let me introduce to you James. James Horn is on the line for us. And you can work away there, James. Thanks very much.
No problem. Thanks, Jack, and good evening, everyone. Brilliant to see 1,000 coaches online. So I'm delighted to be able to go through some of these enhancement and rules with you. So as Jack said, I'm going to just go through dissent, and again, a lot of you will be familiar with it, but I suppose just to go through it and maybe give some detail around it, as per the guidance documentation, and some videos as well to support it. So hopefully give you a good picture of what they are. So under the category of dissent, we're going to look at tactical fouls, aggressive fouls, and dissent itself. So under tactical fouls, just a 50-meter advancement, and I know that's brought a lot of discussion. For tactical foul, 50-meter for interfering with the free kick, sideline, and kick out. The square ball rule, we'll just touch on that as well. And under aggressive fouls, there's been some clarification and changes. So a tactical foul, category 2 infraction, the head-to-head contact, which will be a category 3 infraction, and contributing to a melee, so the third man in. So it's changed to a category 2 infraction from 3. So then under dissent, and I know this has had warranted some great debate over the last few weeks. So the 50-meter penalty for forcibly challenging a referee. So we'll have a quick look at that and the detail around it. The 13-meter free awarded against a team from an identifiable team official or non-playing sub. So the impact they can have on the game. And then at under 17 level and below, the black card for dissent, but the player can be immediately replaced. So we're going to touch on those key areas. So I won't go through it in huge detail. Again, this is just another layer of giving you further information. So the 50-meter advancement for tactical fouling. So again, tactical fouling, as we know, has been in the game quite a lot. So we looked at what we could do with it. So the penalty is, I suppose, a 50-meter advancement. So it's to de-incentivize tactical fouling. as we know, it significantly slows down the game. So there's a 50-meter penalty from where the tactical foul occurred. So tactical fouling is an important one, I suppose. Is any foul which purposely and deliberately delays or impedes play. So that's the definition that's on it. Scoot to the next slide. So just some of the notes on that. So the 50-meter free advancements is awarded for tactical fouling. We just went through the definition there. So in the case of an opposing player not retreating the 13 meters, for example, to allow space for the free kick to be taken, or including a solo and go, to deliberately block or attempt to block the kick within the 13 meters, or to impede the free taker when a player is taking the kick, including a solo and go. So the penalty shall be a free kick 50 meters in the direction of the goalposts to a more advantageous position. So if that 50-meter advancement brings the ball inside the 40-meter arc, it's a 1-point scoring area. The team in possession may elect to take a free kick from outside that arc, and that'll be 2 points. And we saw that in the interpros where that happened. So the team in possession immediately takes a free kick or a solo and go from where the tactical foul occurred. This cancels the 50-meter advancement. So if you want to play on immediately, that cancels the 50 meters. So just the penalty for delaying or interfering with an opponent taking a free kick or sideline kick. So again, to disincentivize teams who purposely attempt to delay and slow down play after conceding a free kick or a sideline ball by introducing a penalty which advances the ball 50 meters from where the tactical foul occurred. There's evidence where players commit a technical foul, over carrying, etc., and do not release the ball to the opposition in a prompt manner with the aim of delaying play. And so the current penalty for this infraction is a free kick to the opposition 13 meters more advantageous than the place of the original kick up to the opponent's 13-meter line. A 50-meter penalty for this infraction will disincentivize this practice of holding onto the ball for the purpose of delaying or slowing down the play. So just on the delaying or interfering with the opponent taking a free kick or sideline kick and returning the ball on the full. And again, loads of very good debate on this and how this will play out. So returning the ball on the full. There's evidence that opposing players do not return or are slow to return the ball on the full to the player who has been fouled. The behaviour deliberately slows down and delays play, preventing the foul player taking advantage of an immediate solo and go from taking a quick free kick. So again, you'll all be familiar where this happens, where a player holds onto the ball a bit longer, slows it down enough for his teammates to get back into position or whatever it is. So players should return the ball on the full to the player fouled in a prompt and respectful manner. Returning the ball on the full is also aligned with the association's Give Respect, Get Respect initiative. So returning the ball on the full means that after a foul is committed, the opposition must return the ball directly to the player fouled in a prompt and respectful manner. And again, in the video, we have a couple of clips of this from the interpros that may help. Just quickly on the square ball, just to make that consistent with the current rule. So during play, a player may enter the small square once the ball is kicked. Currently for set plays, the ball must enter the small rectangle and then the player can enter. It is difficult to judge when exactly the ball enters the small square, and the different rules cause confusion for players and team officials. So it's basically the rule amendment allows to enter the small rectangle after the final play of the ball for both general play and set play. So I think it's just to make the rules more consistent and clearer for everyone involved. Next one is cynical behaviour for deliberately holding up a player. So again, black card for this one, to disincentivize intentional tactical fouling for the purposes of gaining advantage. A player either in possession or not, deliberately held up but not pulled to the ground by the opposing player, for example, as the current black card stands. So this edition is where players are on occasion can hold up players quite skillfully, stopping the play, stopping the momentum, allowing a reset. So this has been added as a black card infraction. To contribute to a melee, again, the principle behind it, I suppose, is contributing to melee is currently a category 3 offence. Evidence suggests that the match officials can be reluctant at times, and you can understand how it can be very difficult with numbers coming into a melee, etc. if you haven't seen exactly a clear red card offence. So evidence suggests that match officials are reluctant to enforce the rule unless an attempted kick or strike or other Category 3 infractions were observed during the melee. The FRC rule amended moves contributing to a melee to a Category 2 infraction. This will assist match officials who are more likely to issue a black card or 10 minutes in the sin bin where a player who joins and contributes to the FRACA melee with behaviour such as pushing and shoving, grappling with opposition players, which is not acceptable and reflects poorly on the game. So the threat of a black card, which is more likely to be actioned by match, will discourage players from contributing to a melee. So that's the general principle of what we're looking to do, and just the expanded notes on that. So another addition is the head-on-head, obviously from the Scientific and Medical Committee, some recommendations, and you can see where this would be where there's a foul or a free or contact on head-to-head or shoulder-on-head or elbow-on-head contact in any tackle attempt, including any form of neck restraint or interference with the neck and throat area, will be an offence. So these infractions should be added to the current Category 3 infraction description, behaving in any way which is dangerous to an opponent. Okay, so just onto the specific dissent categories. So the principle, so the first one is to show dissent with the referee's decision to award a free kick to the opposing team. So this is an area where there'll be lots of behavioural change, I suppose, required, and will be very interesting as we start trainings and go into the games, the national leagues. So the principle is to reinforce the importance of showing respect to referees. The penalty for dissent towards referees is made more severe to establish that dissent towards referees is unacceptable. The FRC recommendation below is in relation to the referees communicating with teams prior to the throw-in, which will help to improve the relationship between players and match officials. So the proposal supports in a meaningful way the association's Give Respect, Get Respect initiative, seeking to ensure that Gaelic games are promoted and played in a positive, fair and enjoyable manner at all ages, regardless of competition, with players, coaches, referees and spectators give respect and get respect from each other. So again, a really, really important area for our game. So the abusive, sorry, if you could just flick back one, Jack, just to make sure we cover this one. It's really, really key area. So referees are encouraged to communicate in advance of throw-in, and the team captain or a nominated deputy, if the captain is a goalkeeper or is no longer on the field, are the only players that may speak to the referee to seek clarification. Again, a really significant change for some of the on-field, I suppose, behaviours at present. So the expanded notice is really to show dissent by forcefully challenging the referee's decision to award a free kick to the opposing team, either verbally or by gesturing. The free kick already awarded shall be taken 50 metres more advantageous to the place of from the place of the original kick up to the 30-metre line. Okay, so that's the key one. Again, we have some good video clips of that. That will help. So abusive misconduct at games by team officials, and this, I suppose, is the majority of us maybe on the call this evening. The principle, again, the aim of this rule amendment is to discourage abusive and aggressive behaviour by team officials and non-playing substitutes towards game officials. The penalty for such misconduct will be the concession of a free kick to the opposition on the offending team's 13-metre line. So again, it ties into the Give Respect, Get Respect initiative of a fair and balanced game and treating everyone involved with respect. So again, a really significant change for how things are at the moment. Thanks, Jack. Sorry, just go back one more again, just to make sure I covered. Yeah. So the amendment. So if an identifiable team official and or identified non-playing substitute challenge the authority of the referee, score umpire, line umpire, or sideline official, or remonstrate in an aggressive manner, including the use of threatening or abusive line, the penalty is a free kick is awarded on the 30-metre line. The free kick will be awarded as 1 point, but if the free kick was awarded outside initially the 40-metre arc and the opposition team officials were penalised for dissent, the kicking team may choose to take the free kick if the ball was moved up to the apex of the 40-metre arc. Its score will be 2 points. Okay. And just the last one, show dissent by a player at under 17 or younger grades. Again, in the whole theme of what we're trying to do to develop respect amongst officials. The initiative calls for the promotion of the code of behaviour at under 17. And basically, the introduction of this black card offence for players at under 17 or younger grades is aligned to the give respect, get respect. Emphasise the players that dissent towards a match official is unacceptable. The rule focuses on the player who shows dissent rather than penalising the team, as the player who was ordered off for 10 minutes can be immediately replaced by a teammate for the duration of the 10 minutes. Again, an under 17 level of black card, but can be replaced. And that's just the definition there of how it will read. So an under 17 or younger grades to show dissent by challenging verbally or aggressively gesturing the authority of a referee, score umpire, line umpire, or sideline official, or remonstrating in an aggressive manner. So it'll be a black card not for 10 minutes, but he can be replaced immediately with another player. Okay, just some video clips to maybe highlight some of the topics we just went through. So this is from the recent Interpros that we have. You just want to play it on.
Just before we play the video there, James, and I have a couple of questions for you afterwards.
Sure.
I should have highlighted during the introduction. There's a Q&A section at the top of your screen for anybody who's on the call. Now, there isn't an opportunity to speak or to ask questions of the presenters, just due to the total volume of people that's on the call. But for sure, type in your question into the Q&A section. We'll ask some of the questions. We may not get through them all, but any question that is asked, we will follow up afterwards with a written reply from the FRC members. So pop your questions in there. There's a couple in there, and I'll refer to them in a couple of minutes, James.
Sure. So again, this is the recent Interpros, that tackle, and just a response of the player challenging the ref, the gesturing and challenging the ref. So the free was brought in to a more advantageous position. You can see here on the sideline where the ball was held up slightly delayed, not given back on the full to the player, so it was brought forward to 50 meters. So again here, pulled, and there was a free for overcarrying, and he threw the ball away, throwed it down, and that again was brought forward to 50 meters. So again, a similar situation. Player didn't give back the ball in a prompt and respectful manner, so brought forward to 50 meters. See how quickly the ball is brought forward, where the ref decides play is taken. So again, I think an overcarrying situation here. So again, ball not given on the full, thrown down, and it gets the 50-meter penalty brought forward. And just another example. You see there where the ball was given on the full. Here, Niall Morgan, I think, is pulled for overcarrying again, and where he gives the ball back on the full. Just very good examples of what the intent of the rule is. So again, you see the player giving it back, and away it speeds up play, gives the advantage to the team for attacking. Again, there'll be a lot of examples, and that's to be worked through a training, I suppose, where did that player stand in the way of the player? Did the guy with the ball sort of intentionally try and run into him to get his 50 meters? So again, a lot of that, the way it's worded in the rule book should provide some clarity. Again, where he doesn't give back the ball, holds on to the ball and tries to slow down play, it's brought forward to 50 meters. Again, that you see that one there, I think it was John Maher, where the player ran into him with the ball, or was he standing in front of the play? So again, some of those need to be worked through with the teams and groups. But again, looking at what the wording of the rule is, and taking it from there.
Thanks for that, James. Just a couple of questions. We're just going to show the coaches on the line here some FAQs that we have. They're short animation videos, but just a couple of questions just regarding the whole dissent area of the new rules. There's no doubt when you see it there that when a ball is handed back to the opponent, it definitely speeds up the play. It's much more fluid. But there's quite significant changes to behaviour in that, isn't there, in terms of players and how they currently behave some of the times around conceding frees.
Yeah, absolutely. And you saw in some of the clips there when, say, Niall Morgan gave back that ball. Niall Morgan won't be really in a position to challenge or put on any defensive pressure initially. So again, it's, as coaches, you'd be looking at who else in the team based on where they're positioned. If a free is given away like that, you need to automatically think of how can I cover off the risk, or what do I need to do, because the opposition can attack immediately. So while it looks sort of alien to us on the way we have played, it's a matter of coaches and players thinking through it. And so if the player that fouls the ball, say as in that example, how do the rest of the team set up structurally to cut off that risk? And for sure, I think all of us maybe that have played the game and are playing the game, there's always been a chance to rant at the referee or to challenge whatever, and it'll be brought up to 13 meters. But that, getting referees and people to ref the games, and I suppose the way we want the game played, it's critical these dissent rules were brought in. And of course, it sounds initially very severe. But the intent would be that will drive the behavioral change that we need, that if it happens to you once in a game or happens twice, that you'd be expecting through your coaching or prep for the next game that won't happen again. So that's the intent of it, and the punitive nature of the enhancement.
It seemed to work well there on the last couple of clips. I think Connacht were playing Ulster in the final game. When the two Connacht players conceded a free, they just put their hands up immediately and tried to reverse out of the situation. Again, I suppose the more you practice that and the more you implement that in your training sessions, the more likely it's going to change behaviour.
Yeah, absolutely. That John Marwan, for example, he was it probably looked harshly that he was at the 50 meter was given against him. But again, it's the player involved in the free or the infraction. It's what the other players on his team do, or how as a team you set up once that free is blown. So it'll take thinking that extra couple of seconds earlier for the rest of the teammates when a foul is conceded.
Okay. Thanks for that, James. I'll have one more question after this, but I'd like to show the coaches online here these animated videos. So we've had a number of requests and emails coming in with questions, and David Sweeney from our GAALearning manager and department has put these together. Now these are all available online, and we're going to add to these over the next number of weeks and months. And you can see that they're very, very well animated videos that ask the question clearly and give the answer clearly as well. And these are on each section of the play. So again, there's the question highlighted there, and then it explains it again in animation form of what the outcome is of that. So I'd encourage the coaches on the line to look up that resource on Tubber in our e-learning website. But I have a question here as well, also from the Q&A section, James, and it says here it's regarding the mentor's behaviour. So it says, dissent from the line is not a 50-meter penalty, but theoretically could be the whole length of the field up to the opposite 13-meter line. Is this correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So As we mentioned there, if it's a match official or an identified member or unused sub, etc., that if there's challenging of the referee, etc., that's brought up to the 13-meter line. So that could be, in theory, you know, if it's from outside, if it could be the link to the pitch, and it could be brought up if the 50 meters bring it up within to the 13-meter line. It obviously goes to the 13-meter line. It can be taken back out to the 40-meter apex as well. So there's the potential for the 2-point there as well.
The 2-pointer. Okay.
So
That's excellent, James. Thanks for that. You're back in with us again shortly for another section. But next up, we have Colm. Colm Nally is on with us. Colm, you're going to describe the throw-in for us.
That's great, Jack. Thanks very much for that introduction. Yeah, so I'm looking at the 1v1 throw-in. So under the previous rule for the 2v2 throw-in, fouling consistently occurs at the commencement of each half. Fouling either happens before or as the ball is being thrown in. It's an unsightly start to the game. So one of the FRC's terms of reference is to create memorable moments, and there are great opportunities in the 1v1 throw-in to create some memorable moments. The 1v1 throw-in will make it for an improved spectacle. One member of each team starts on the opposite sideline while two players face the referee for the throw-in. The starting position of the two on the sideline will change at the beginning of the second half. So again, the principal concept is really just to do away with the consistent fouling and the pulling and the dragging. We just move on to the next one, Emma. You can see the expanded notes. Sorry, yeah, just expanded. Yeah. So again, what will happen is at the throw-in or at the referees takes the toss. Whoever wins the toss decides which way they want to play, and whoever loses the toss decides where they want to put the second man from the middle. Does he face the throw-in, or is he at the back of it? So that's what happens. And again, they'll reverse sides at half time. So if we just move on to the video, Emma, you'll see that as with the current rules, all players have to be inside their own 45-meter line. Players can advance once the ball is thrown in and compete for it. So in the video now that's going to play, you can see that players tussle here. So by moving them to the sidelines, you will free up the two players just to compete. You can see the black and red player here now running in towards the throw-in, and he's a decision to make whether to go help his defence or his attack. In this clip, you'll see the Leinster player coming off the sideline, timing his run to collect the ball off the shoulder of his teammate and get a really good early score. And again, that's what we mentioned at the start about an improved spectacle. You can see the referee winding his hand for the clock to let them know, and the two players cleanly contest for a ball with the other players running in for it. So you can see that it's really interesting, and teams will coach, no doubt, tactical manoeuvres from the sideline. And you can see from the video of the that we have from one of the sandboxing matches where that red and black player, he ran straight. He waited to see what happened in terms of who won the throw-in before he decided, right, I have to filter back and help my defence. And you can see with the Leinster player, he adapted. We've won the throw-in, so I'm going to make a run and attack. So it's creating really good moments, and it starts the game off on a really positive note most times. I think in the Interpros, because we played quarters, we had something like 16 throw-ins over the two nights, and we'd one foul in the 16 throw-ins. So it's been really positive. So that's the throw-in and what's going to happen in that. Okay, that's it, Jack. Yeah.
That's it. Thank you very, very much for that, Colm. Can I just ask you just to clarify again, just regarding the toss and the team, how teams decide on what position the non-jumping player in midfield takes for the game, for the start of the game?
So as normal, the referee brings two captains in, whatever, and they toss a coin. Whoever wins has a choice which direction they want to play. So the player the team that didn't win the toss, he gets to decide where he wants to face his second midfielder. So because he didn't win the toss, he can say, I want him facing as in that picture, I want him facing the throw-in, because we didn't win the toss. But whatever decision he makes, it's reversed at the second half for the other team.
In the second half. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for that, Colin. That's excellent.
No problem. No problem.
Questions are coming in here, and we'll get to them at a later stage as well. Next up, we have Eamon. Eamon is going to talk to us about the kickout rules.
Yeah, Jack, thanks. And as the lads have said already, great to see so many people here tonight and anxious to learn. The kickout one, I suppose the first slide on it there, Emma, is just basically that kickouts can be taken with players still inside the 20-meter line. You can see it there in the graphic, and the idea is that it will allow the goalkeeper dictate the pace of the game. If they want to go quick, they can, even if there are players behind them. As you can see in that particular picture, probably hasn't been spoken about much yet is that if they want to go slowly, if they want to take their time, they're free to do that as well. But it's the goalkeeper that's controlling it rather than one of the opposing team maybe coming out very slowly and delaying the game. The keeper can't take it as is in the game at the moment. If we go on to the next one then, Emma. The next slide covers just the points that where can you be in terms of facing that kick out. As you can see, players can be inside, as we mentioned already. Players are free to go inside the 40-meter arc, but you have to be the 13 meters away from the kick out, as is the case now. So the traditional D is still in play with regard to that. For the team taking the kick out, they can't touch the ball inside that 40-meter arc, but critically, the team that's facing the kick out, they can intercept the ball inside the arc just once it's traveled beyond the traditional D. So that will bring an element to play for the keepers as well. You can move on again, Emma. Just in relation to, I suppose, this graphic in terms of what the pitch will look like from the air, you can see the new halfway line. Also, particularly in the bigger pitches, particularly in Croke Park, and we'll see an example of this in the videos in a second, there's still plenty of space there. I think there's been a bit of commentary. Will keepers be able to get away shorter kickouts or mid-range kickouts to the likes of the 5 and 7 pockets as they've become so good at and over the last couple of seasons? You can still do that. As you can see, it'll still be about creating space in those areas and getting players free. So there is still plenty of room beyond the arc and between the sideline and the 45-meter line even. You can move on again, so Emma, please. So just with regard to this as it's playing through, you can see where the 40-meter arc is there. You can see the way players can come in. They can't receive the ball there, the defending team. The guy in the number 6 position obviously is free to get it. He's outside that arc, so he can get the kick out, no problem. That's all fine. And teams will use that. The Reds, if they wanted to in that position, could move in and intercept. We see here that there are players, one of the Ulster lads and one of the Connacht lads are inside the arc. That's fine. It's kicked out long. And one of the big things that came up in the surveys was the want for, one-on-one contests. We can see someone inside there again. And it's possibly forcing keepers a bit longer more often. And you are getting these contests in the middle of the field where you get breaking ball, you get a bigger chance that the ball be turned over more often and will lead to a bit of excitement. This is an example that Connacht worked where they freed up one of those pockets, and you can still get those chipped kickouts away. Kieran Murtagh ran into space, and in the space of one night, Connacht had been able to come up with a little play like that, and that you could still run the ball up the field if you so wish, as Sean Mulcairn was doing there. Again, an example where Niall Morgan was going long, and again, you're getting those contests, you're getting breaking ball, things that have possibly gone out of the game a bit. This is the example then of a player moving in and intercepting inside the 40-meter arc. So there's good incentive for the attacking team in particular to push up and go after teams. You can see there the players inside. We didn't see much of it in the interprovincials. One of the sandbox games, we did see it. But for coaches, I can definitely see big possibilities there with regard to what are you going to do with the players behind the goalkeeper if you win the ball outside, putting it in and so on. But that's probably more for the next series of webinars. So yeah, that's more or less the kickouts there, Jack.
Yeah, again, we have an FAQ animation video section here as well, which will answer a lot of questions that have come in online. But a couple of questions that are coming in here now through the Q&A as well, Eamon, on the kickouts. Does the goalie have to place the ball on the 20-meter line, or can they kick from behind the 20-meter line to speed it up?
Best of my knowledge, it has to be on the 20-meter line, Jack.
Okay. Very good. Question here as well. What happens if players are not 13 meters from the ball on the kickout?
But if they intercept it, it's a free from that position. So obviously for the attacking team, it's a free out for the backs, and then vice versa the other way around.
Okay, very good. We're just playing there some of the questions as well regarding the kickouts on the animation videos. Again, questions are up first, followed by a good explanation. As you can see there, that just refers to the 13 meter. Okay, and we let those play on. Conscious that we'll try and keep it within the hour, Eamon. So we'll get you back in for the next section when you're down the line as well. So next up, we have Colm Collins. Colm, you're going to talk to us about the back pass to the goalkeeper rules.
Hi Jack, how are you? Hello to everybody, and great to see the participation, the massive participation this evening. Yeah, I'm going to go through the back pass to the goalie. So if we get the first slide up. So clear enough there from the only time that the goalie can receive a pass is from a defender who is already in the large parallelogram and he's passing back to the keeper. This cannot happen. The ball can't be brought back in. This is to cover where a ball comes off the post and maybe a defender collects it, and he can use the goalkeeper. We felt that one of the things that was kind of ruining the game was that endless recycling in that area before the 45, where the goalkeeper was the +1, and we felt that this was the way to end that. We also felt that the goalkeeper needed to be involved in the attacking side of the play, so that the goalkeeper can now receive the ball inside the halfway. The other side of the halfway line is the only other time that he can receive a pass. Okay, move it on there. Yeah. Okay, that one. So the next time the goalie can receive the ball is he's in the other half of the field, which gives them an opportunity to have an attacking role, and we saw that clearly in the interpros, in particular with Niall Morgan, who made good use of this. One of the questions that has been asked is, if the goalie receives the ball, can he go backwards? Yes, he can, but he can't receive the ball in his own half. Okay. So there you go. The receiving the ball only in that parallelogram, and then at the other side of the pitch. Here's Niall coming out with the ball, fully aware that he can't receive the ball again. So now the incentive is there for the other team to press heavily on the ball coming out and turn it over, which should make for a more exciting game. Ulster got away nice and clever that time. Now, Goalkeeper can obviously intercept any attacking kick. He can come out and intercept that kick and drive out at any time, but he just can't receive a pass. Here's Niall going back over, but advancing again. That time he received the ball at his own side of the 60 of the midway line, so free against him. Okay, Jack. Sorry, Jack, can't hear you. You're on mute, Jack.
Sorry, Colin.
No bother.
Yeah, again, we have another section here of the FAQs, but there's a couple of interesting questions here as well, Colin, just regarding the player, the goalkeeper. So there's a question in here from Niall. Just to clarify, the only time a keeper can receive the ball other than outside the long rectangle is in his own half as part of the 12 players attacking. But am I right in saying then that the goalkeeper can also intercept ball and can play almost as a fourth defender in his own half of the pitch, as long as he doesn't receive the ball from his own teammates? If it's kicked from the opposition, he's in a position to intercept it and play on.
Correct, Jack. Yeah, he can read the kick and intercept it and drive out and take the ball out, no problem. But the only thing he can't do is receive a pass from his teammates inside his own 65, excluding that parallelogram.
Okay. And again, a similar question. Can the goalkeeper still tackle between the small square and halfway line in his own half? So in effect, can the goalkeeper become a defender?
Absolutely. No problem whatsoever. He tackle as normal, yeah.
Brilliant. And one final question for economy. It's in a broader context. Question from PJ. He says, are the new rules applicable to all age groups under 16s and below or above?
I think there's been some leeway given to counties to amend or to leave some of these rules out. That's my understanding, that there's a bit of leeway there if people running those competitions feel that it's inappropriate for the age group, that they can change them. But there shouldn't be any reason to change this one.
Yeah. So I think it's at the county's own discretion to what effect they want to introduce the rules, the whole way down to under 14. Yeah. Very good. That's brilliant, Colin. Thanks very much for that. Up next, we have James. James, you're back in again. I just open you up here.
To go through the 40-meter scoring arc and the scoring system. So we'll pick up the slides. And again, this is, I suppose, to what Eamon said earlier on, one of the key themes that came back through the surveys and through many of the discussions and stakeholder engagement meetings was about how long shooting or distance shooting was a key aspect and a key skill of the game that people really appreciated. So I suppose that formed a lot of the discussions and design around this. So the 2-point scoring zone, as you can see there, it's 40 meters out from the center of the goal and in an arc to the 20-meter line. Outside that zone is 2 points. Outside the arc is 2 points. Anything inside it is 1 point. The way it was designed. So again, the intent of this, and you've seen this over recent championship matches last year and the year before, where you have long distance shooting, you have spectacular point scoring, but you also have a lot of goal mouth activity. If long shots fall short, we've seen a number of goals over quarterfinals, semifinals over the recent years that have scored that way. But also it changes tactically, I suppose, how teams need to set up. In that, if you have a team with a hot shooter on the 2-point arc, that means your defense may have to push out, push higher, engage earlier, and that causes, I suppose, tackling and causes a lot of contests. but it also creates space and maybe goal opportunities closer to goal where there isn't as many defenders. And when you couple that with the 3v3 that we'll go through, the 40-meter arc will create both long distance scoring opportunities, but hopefully goal opportunities as well. So it'll be very interesting to see it play. So just the scoring system, and again, there's some debate, and as you know, we changed some of this after the recent Interpros. So 2 points scored when the ball is played from over the crossbar, from outside the arc. 1 point awarded for 45. That was one of the ones that were changed. 1 point awarded for a point inside the 40-meter arc, or inside the 20-meter line, as you can see there in the diagram. And a goal is the equivalent to 3 points. And if a free is conceded, again, outside the 40-meter, and there's a 50-meter penalty, as we discussed earlier, if that's brought forward, and again, you saw this in the Interpros, I think, with Killian Spillane, where the free was brought forward inside the arc, and that would have been a 1 point. But as the free was initially conceded outside the 40-meter arc, he had the option to bring it to the 40-meter arc, and he took the 2 point option from there. So again, you're going to see that throughout the games. I think that's the key part of it, I think, Jack.
Yeah, I think we have some good video examples here now as well, James. Some of the animations from your previous
again,
presentations.
Just giving you, I suppose, a map and appreciation of the distance. So you see the arc there, into the 20-meter line. And we saw some brilliant examples. So I think that's Rian O'Neill kicking a point, a super score for 2 points. Again, when we looked at some of the footage, it's surprising how many scores are got. I think Johnny Heaney hit a couple of very good ones towards the end of the game to bring it level. Again, we see Niall Morgan just hitting one from just outside. So it's funny, in some of the sandboxes, we saw a lot of scores where players were bringing it just inside the arc, a meter or two inside the arc, taking shots and then their awareness grew as they played more games, and just maybe pulling that shot earlier from outside the arc to give themselves the 2 point option. So again, we saw some great demonstrations of long distance shooting during the recent Interpros. Again, just further example, but you can see the spacing inside. Will there be more tackling? Will there be more pressing around that arc? And will that create options inside? Even if you look at the picture internally there, the 3 inside. So a fabulous score. I think that was in the first game. I think that was a buzzer beater as well, just before the hooter went for the end of the first quarter. So again, I think this is the free kick that I explained. So that free, the 50-meter penalty, was brought up inside the 40-meter arc, but he brought it out to the 40-meter arc and took his 2 point option.
Again, we have our FAQs just playing here as well. Again, it's just to highlight them. We won't go through them in any great detail here, but just to show the coaches on the line that this is just a really good resource that's available on Tubber. But a couple of questions that are coming through the Q&A box as well, James. One question there is a 45. How much is a 45 worth now? Is it 1 point or 2 points?
It's 1 point, yeah. Yeah, and the first question that popped up there, if your foot is planted or on the line, or outside the line, it's the 2 points is awarded.
An interesting question here as well. What if the ball is touched over the crossbar by a defender from a kick from outside of the 40-meter arc?
Yeah, the ball has to go directly over the bar for it to be a 2 point option.
So in that case, then that's a 1 pointer. Yeah, brilliant. Thanks very much for that, James. We're back on with Eamon.
Yeah,
Eamon,
perfect,
you're going to talk us through the 3 up, 3 back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we just look at that first slide there. It obviously gives an indication of the way the team can line up, with having to keep a minimum of 3 forwards, 3 backs in their own half of the pitch at all times. The goalkeeper is exempt from that. He doesn't count as one of those players. So he's free to go and attack if he wants and make it a 12v11 at the far side, but he can't count as one of the defenders at his own side. So that's clearly seen there. We can skip on to the next one. So Emma, please. Yeah, that one, that's perfect. Just on that one, we leave the penalties in a second because I'll come back to that in the graphic. It's easier to explain it in the moving graphic. Just to cover the advantage rule for the 3 up, 3 back. You know, if a team are trying to cynically breach the rule to stop a goal scoring opportunity, the referee is free to play advantage to allow that goal scoring opportunity to play out. And if no advantage accrues, then they can bring it back for the free. For black and red cards, if a team are down to 14 or 13 or whatever, probably the easiest way to remember it is they're free to defend or attack with a maximum of 11. So traditionally what would happen if you have a man sent off, you might only play with two forwards at that stage or 2 inside forwards. You're free to do that. But the opposition still have to keep the 3 back because we were conscious of a team having a double punishment. So we have to be careful with regard to that. So regardless of how many players you've in the bin or sent off, you can defend with a maximum or attack with a maximum of 11 players. Obviously, the goalkeeper is exempt from that. Similar for an injured player, if you're down to 14, if a player is temporarily off, it's the same thing. So we can move on there again. Emma, please. So yeah, we can play this, and it's very clear really in these graphics in terms of the 3 up structure. You can see here as the blue team attack and as they all move up the pitch, 3, 1, 2, and 3 have to remain in their own half of the pitch, and there has to be communication with regard to that. We saw it as the players went on that it worked really well. I suppose the advantage is that it gives you that shape to go the other way. As we can see here, when you win the ball back, it just gives you the opportunity to attack straight away, and rather than having to rotate the ball and to allow the team get into an attacking shape, as we saw a lot of it this season in particular, you players up the field that you can look up and you can look to kick. This was our man, one of those sandbox games towards the end of the process. Similarly, in the interprovincials, we see here that Ulster have had to keep their players up the pitch, so it allows them to do things like this, that they're able to kick the ball up to the pitch to the shape that we can see up there, where there's 3 players in a good attacking position. And even in this particular one, we saw 2 kicks in a row, which you wouldn't see too often at the moment, and it's worked around, and eventually it comes to Darren McCurry, and Ulster worked a good score, went from back to front quite quickly. Doesn't mean they have to, but they have the shape to do it. Similarly, here we see Kieran Byrne getting on the ball and putting in a good diagonal ball, something that you'd see very little of in the last season or 2. And of course, the other side of this rule is that you can only defend with a maximum of 11. Now, in terms of the fouls, it's explained well here in the graphic again. So the blue team are attacking there. It really makes no sense for that guy to cross the line, because if he does, the ball's taken off his team, it's brought up to the far 20-meter line, and it's basically a score. Similarly, for the red team who are defending, if one of their forwards decides, I'm going to go back and help here, as soon as it's spotted, it's a free straight in front of the goal. So you're giving up a score. So it doesn't really make any sense for your team to breach it cynically in terms of either adding to attack or adding to defense. Of course, it can happen accidentally. In terms of a player, as we see here, in the act of going for the ball, he crosses the line. And just like a sideline, if you took the ball out over the sideline by accident, it's a free from that position. It's not a cynical breach, it's an accidental breach. And then the other consideration is if 2 players in the act of going for the ball together across the line, it's a hot ball. The referee will obviously be looking at that because he'll see it with the ball coming. We saw some examples, and you'll notice here as well, a lot of these happened early in games while players were getting used to it. That's only just over 10 minutes into the game, the Leinster-Munster game. We saw the same in some of the other sandbox games, that players made these mistakes early in the games, but as soon as they got used to it, it completely dried up. Wasn't an issue at all. We'd see it in a wider camera here, where one of the Munster lads was coming out with the ball, hard to see who it is, and they don't leave their 3 in the defensive side of the pitch. They lost the ball. Similarly here, Owen Cleary, Niall Morgan was actually trying to sprint back to goals. They were in a great shape to work that goal chance because they had turned over the ball, and They had a chance to counter-attack, but Owen Cleary got a bit excited and he went beyond the halfway line. So again, he left Munster short. But again, you can see it's early in the game. It's only 9.5 minutes into the game. It's only 5 minutes into that quarter, actually, because the clock is ticking down. So it was early. We'll see once the video plays on, we'll see Owen here from behind the goals in a second, and you'll see the way that he just forgot himself. He's gone beyond halfway there in his anxiousness to get on the ball, and he breached the rule. So what you'll see is that players will get used to it, and rather than going beyond it, they'll make diagonal or lateral runs across, and they'll be in dangerous positions. So that's the 3-3 rule covered there, Jack. I suppose what it gives the shape when you have the ball to go forward, and when you don't have the ball, it means you can only defend with a maximum of 11. So hopefully it should reduce some of that slow possession-based football that a team in possession have no option to do if the whole 15 men are behind the 45-meter line. So time will tell if it will have that desired effect.
Thanks very much, Eamon. That's excellent. So again, Emma is just playing the FAQ animation videos there, which again are on our Tubber website. But just a couple of questions then. Eamon, can the goalkeeper be one of the 3 players we keep in our half of the field?
No, the goalkeeper is exempt from the rule, Jack. It has to be 3 of the outfield players at either side at all times. Goalkeeper can't count as one of the 3, either as as one of the defenders or one of his team's attackers.
Okay, excellent. And then just one other question. On the 3v3 foul, when it's moved to the opposition 13-meter line, can that be brought back outside the 40-meter arc for a 2-point attempt?
Yeah.
It can. Excellent. Yeah. Thank you very much. That's brilliant, Eamon. We'll move along. We're getting through these nicely. Again, we'll just try and keep it as close to the 60 minutes as we can. So, Colm, you're back up again, and you're going to talk to us about the solo and go.
Thanks, Jack. Yeah, so the solo and go is basically a free kick. It's aimed to speed up play when a player is fouled. The amended rule now allows the player to take a solo goal immediately. Under the previous written rule, you have to wait for the referee's permission to take a free kick. The solo goal must move in a forward direction, and sideways is also deemed as forward. The player making the solo goal cannot be challenged within 4 meters from the position where the solo goal is taken. The ball must be released from the hand before making contact with the foot, not a toe tap, and not bringing the foot up to the ball. And that's keeping in line with one of the core skills of the game, the solo. So it has to be a proper solo. Any player of the team, of the foul player, can take the solo goal, but he must be 4 meters from where the foul occurred. So he has to be kind of very, very close to them. If the player's on the ground, he can hand the ball or pass the ball up to them. So in the video clip, you'll see there's an animation here of the ball dropping to the foot. So you can see the player's fouled here, and the ball has to be dropped to his foot, and you have to take a proper solo, and off you go. You can take that ball. Here we have some good examples of how to use the solo and go. In the first clip here now, you'll see the Connacht player commits a technical foul, and you'll see the quick thinking Ulster player takes his solo and go and releases a really good long foot pass into his teammate, who creates a nice bit of space and takes a good score. So that's a brilliant example of it from a technical foul. The Connacht player here now is fouled on the ground, but his teammate is close by and within the 4 meters of the foul, so he can get the ball from the fouled teammate, and he restarts the game really, really quickly and puts them on the front foot. Again, the Leinster player here, you can see the Munster player overcarry it, and the game is instantly restarted by the Leinster player really, really quickly. So it speeds up the game tremendously, and the players love it. They really, really enjoy it. Again, the last clip there, you'll see the Leinster player. There's a good clip coming up here now. It's just pause there. You see here, because that player isn't inside the 20-meter line, he's allowed to take that solo and go, and it causes a bit of havoc there. Havoc for the players and opponents, but excitement for the supporters. So the solo and go is a brilliant initiative, and it's going to bring huge excitement to the game. Players love it because they think that it kind of gives them a little bit more control of the move, where they can make a decision Again, sometimes in the sandboxes matches, we were witnessing players kind of taking a solo goal when probably the free kick was the better option, and then vice versa, taking a free kick when you were kind of screaming at them, there's a solo go option here for you to take. But it's really it's a really good rule change. You'll see, we imagine, envisage the underage players are going to really enjoy this, and you're going to see the crafty, creative player thinking again really quickly. So coaching that skills back into the game. But again, we have to stress really that it's a proper solo. It's not bringing the foot up to the ball as a toe tap. It's a proper solo to restart the game really quickly.
Excellent, Colin. Thank you very much for that. And you can see there the animation videos playing again, just to show you that they're there. But then a couple of questions around that, Colin. Question here, can I take a solo and go anywhere on the pitch?
Not inside the opposition's 20 metre. So anywhere on the pitch except inside the opposition's 20 metre line.
Okay, excellent.
We seen we had a funny example of it in one of the sandboxing matches where when we were just fine tuning, the fellow was just toe tapping it, so he was going to stick the ball over the bar, and then he took off and he got a shot away and goal, and it was a little bit, you were saying, well, that's a little bit too easy, so we had to just kind of adapt that.
Okay. And then I kind of have two related questions here in the Q&A box. Does the solo and go have to be standing still, or can a player be moving forward for the solo? And then kind of related to that question is the second one. How far does the defender have to retreat in a solo and go?
Yeah, really good question. So we've kind of looked at the ladies' football rules on their free kicks. So the ladies' football are allowed to take their free kick sort of from 4 metres where the foul occurs. So that allows them gain a bit of momentum to get a proper kick at the ball. It's the exact same for the solo and goal, because if we don't allow that 4 steps, it's going to create you toe tap and bring the foot to the ball. So you're allowed to take 4 steps and then get your solo within that. The player must retreat 4 steps before he can tackle you. And it's 4 steps from when you take the solo. So if you take 2 steps to take the solo, that means the player nearly has to retreat 6 steps. So it's 4 steps from when he takes the solo, if you understand me. So then he's free to make that tackle. You know, like it'll again, we've witnessed a lot. Look, again, unless players are kind of cynical about it, but most players with dark right.
Yeah. A lot of that relates back to our first section as well, Colin, doesn't it? Regarding behavioural changes of players on the pitch now. Obviously, handing the ball back to an opponent is one significant change, and then a player retreating from an opponent as they are coming towards them during play. You're gone. Gone. I think you're gone on us there. Oh, you're back, Colin. Sorry. I was just saying...
yeah, I just lost you there. Yeah, sorry.
They're quite significant behavioural changes and challenges for players on the pitch, quite similar to the handing the ball back to the opponent, where you have to retreat 4 or 6 metres in your example there, with a player coming towards you. That's a significant change in current behaviours on the pitch, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it is. But it's all geared to speeding the game up, and it'll speed up everything. Your speed of thought, even your speed of your footwork, everything's going to be speeded up. You'll probably see it'll be a tactic where you probably retreat more than 6 steps before, just so you don't give that option of the player running into you.
Yeah, there's some more really good questions in the Q&A box as well, and I think what we'll do is we'll come back to those again at another time, because there's dozens and dozens of really good questions that we're just not going to get time to today. Again, the purpose of today's webinar is really to really clarify and explain the rules with good examples and practical examples. A lot of the questions that we have there in the Q&A box, we'll be definitely coming back to those, and maybe in a recorded webinar or there's definitely more debate in them. Now we have off the advanced mark rule. So Colin Collins is back in with us again. Colin.
Hey, Jack. Okay, I suppose the advanced mark was much maligned in the old rules. A lot of criticism of it, and to that end, we had a look at it, and we felt that in line with the instructions we were given, that we could make it an attractive feature of the game. So the new advanced mark, the ball must be kicked outside the 45-meter line. It must be taken inside the 20-meter line. But the change now is that instead of seeing one of the most talented forwards in the country putting up his hand and standing up, he can now play on, go for a goal, and if he doesn't get that goal, he can still retain his advantage and get his point from the mark. So that we felt that we wanted to encourage the top forwards to take on their defenders and go for goal, and that we felt that the stagnant putting the hand up in the air and stop and play was slowing the game down. So hopefully this will make the it'll make the game more exciting at the offensive end. So as you're there, it has to be kicked outside the 45, which is going to promote longer kicking. It's going to probably promote fielding inside as well. And then the one is that you no longer stop up. You have a go and play on, see can you get an advantage, and if you can't, you still have your point from the mark. So here we've got a big long ball in here, and player encouraged to go for a goal in the knowledge that he still has his point, so go back and tap his ball over the bar for his catch. And from that clip, it would seem that it's going to bring a lot of high feeling into the game as well. Killian, he plays on, gets his point, no advantage. So no advantage, or he was wide actually. That's it, Jack.
That's brilliant, Colm. Thanks very much for that. Some really good examples there of long kicking, catching and fielding, and a combination of no advantage accruing, so it's brought back for the mark, or some advantage as a result of the mark, the advanced mark, and either a score being kicked or a better opportunity presents itself. I would also say as well, Colm, that the three up, three back complements the advanced mark as well, because there does seem to be in a lot of those clips there's more presence deep in the forward line, so there's a target there for somebody out the field to kick the ball into.
Yeah, absolutely. You no longer are looking at 15 opposition jerseys in the area you want to play the ball to, so there's a lot of space and a lot of room, and players that can win their own ball are going to be in high demand.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And again, FAQs are playing there. Okay, that's great. Thanks very much for that, Colm. Our final piece, Eamon, we have it up, and it's just around the game administration and a few of the peripheral changes around the game then as well.
Yeah, no bother, Jack. Look, a big thing is the stop clock is in now, similar to the ladies' game. And wherever there is a stop clock, and it's possible it will count down from 35. If not, it can count up. If there's no clock there, it'll go on the referee's watch, just as it is in the ladies' game, the way they can cascade down through the different levels. It works very well. It'll be, in the big inter-county games, particularly, or at the start of the year where we'll be watching the National League, there'll be a fifth official to control the clock, but it'll be still the referee that'll obviously be dictating when it's on, when it's off. To start the clock, the referee signals by winding one arm and blowing his whistle to stop the clock. He crosses both hands over his head and blows the whistle. It'll be stopped for injuries that require on-field treatment, issuing yellow, black, red cards for all substitutions if there's a melee happening, or for deliberate delays. It will run through all free kicks, 45s, all of that stuff. At the end of the half, then, when the hooter sounds, a hooter will sound once it hits 35 minutes. If the ball's in the air from a shot, it'll count once no one touches it. And other than that, the game just finishes at that point, just as they have in New York. So there's the New York precedent is there. So yeah, that's that. Emma, you can skip on. The other one with regard to the game officiating is the white foam. The idea of this is that it just stops forwards cheating in from where the free is conceded. There's a mark in the pitch. We can see here Conor Lane putting the mark down, and when the forward is taking the free, they have to kick it from the far side of that. So to stop the thing where the forward, in that example where Killian Spillane is kicking, he'd probably be inside at the edge of the D normally before he kick it. So it'll just mean that they're honest free kicks, and the thing of a forward gaining a lot of ground in terms of angle and distance, that day is gone. So the free will be actually from where the free is awarded. So again, it's just to tidy up an aspect that annoyed a lot of people. The advantage rule, we mentioned it already. Up until the amendments were brought in, there was a 5-second maximum that the referee could award the advantage with his hand in the air. Now he can determine it. He can determine if it goes on longer, if you need 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds. It's up to the referee's discretion. We've been keen to impress that it's the importance of the referee communicating this to the player, particularly the player on the receiving end of the advantage, that they have advantage, verbally communicated, and then verbally communicated again when it's advantage over. Very similar to what they do in rugby. So it just gives the referee a bit of discretion that if he feels there's an advantage developing, he can allow it develop. And if not, then obviously pull it back for the original foul. So that's the amendment to the advantage rule. I'd say the final one in this thing is the linesmen or the line umpires, to empower them a bit more to work as a team, to get that thing of the officials working as a team. And that in the with the amendment that's been brought in, the line umpires can bring to the attention of the referee any instances of foul play which have not been noticed by the referee. And they may also assist in determining the validity of a score. And critically, they no longer have to wait for a break in play. And even more importantly, they no longer have to wait for the referee to ask them. They can notify the referee that they have something to say and communicate it to the referee. You know, at intercounty level and at county championship level, in most counties, they're all wired up and communicating with each other now. So again, it's just promoting that teamwork element for the officials. So yeah, that's that one, Emma. And yeah, that's it with regard to the officiating, Jack.
That's great. Thanks, Eamon. Just a couple of questions then that are in the Q&A box on that. What's the punishment for overstepping the white foam mark for the free taker? Is it a hot ball?
That's a good question now, Jack. I think it's a hot ball. One of the lads might jump in because we were anxious that not to have too many more hot balls in the game if possible. You know, in a lot of instances, the free was reversed. Hot ball. None of the lads are jumping in there, Jack, so they're all in the same.
No, I think it is.
Just don't cross the white foam is the message.
Emma's after coming to our rescue there. One other question then for you regarding that. If a free is awarded, but the clock runs out or the hooter sounds, can the free kick still be taken?
Yeah, the free kick will be taken, a 45 will be taken, a penalty will be taken. And if another player touches the ball then after the free is taken on its way to over the bar, it doesn't count. It has to go directly over the bar. The only circumstance where that's slightly different is for the penalty, that if the referee or if the goalkeeper touches it on way to the net, it still counts as a goal.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Eamon. That's fantastic.
No problem.
So it's just coming up to 9 o'clock. Conscious that we're on for 90 minutes or thereabouts. The attendance has kept pretty solid. It's been up around 1,500 for the majority of the call, which is fantastic. But just to finish on one slide or two, just regarding the resources that are available. Obviously, this webinar will be recorded and put up online. So you'll be able to watch it back or forward it on to fellow club coaches or whoever. The other thing as well is that there are numerous questions in the Q&A box, and we will answer all of those and make all of those available either on the Tubber webpage, and we might even record some type of podcast or something like that with those questions that'll be answered, so you'll be fully informed. A lot of those questions, or some of those questions, are actually answered through the FAQ animation videos. Just in terms of some e-learning resources, so both those e-learning FAQ animations and an actual e-learning course will be available online on our Tubber page as well this Friday the 20th of December. So again, another thing just to help layer the learning on understanding these rules. Our plans going forward from here, again, this evening is just very much an introduction and making the rules very clear so that you understand them. And hopefully, if there was a couple of grey areas there that you were unsure of in regards to the rules, we might have clarified them this evening. And we'll follow up with the questions, as I said also. So what follows on from here? Our plan is to have more e-learning coach development workshops, either online, well, some of them will be online as an e-learning resource, where we'll have a little bit more discussion around the actual coaching aspects of the new rules. In addition to that, we're going to have some face-to-face coaching workshops, which we'll be rolling out towards the end of January and then from February onwards. And the plan there is that we will that these will go or will be made available to every club across the country, and they'll be rolled out through all the provincial game staff and the head of games right across the country. So that's something that we're working on at the moment, and we're developing it. And again, that's just going to be an opportunity to delve a little bit deeper into the coaching aspects of these new rules, because that's where I guess we all want to get to and develop as well. Again, like I said, the Tubber web page is a really, really good resource for now. It'll bring a lot of clarity around the rules. And that's more or less it from us today. I'd like to thank all our presenters for their time and everything that they've put into the FRC committee to date. And as Jim and Gavin has said on numerous occasions, we're not even halfway through the process now. It's a really, really exciting number of weeks and months ahead. I think it's a watershed moment for the game. I think the FRC committee have done fantastic work, and it's our job now to make sure that as many coaches, if not every coach, is made aware and is very, very clear on what the new rules are. So, Toshe, that's it. Thank you very, very much, everybody, for attending. And we look forward to engaging with you again in the near future. Thank you very much.